Tall white aliens. The name tall white aliens has been attributed to these creatures as they resemble a gray alien, only much taller than a common gray alien. The tall white aliens possibly used genetic manipulations to arrive at their current appearance. There is an extraterrestrial race, which Mr. Charles Hall called the tall white alien. This race is the origin of the stars near Arcturus. Some stand more than 8 feet tall, run at 40 miles per hour, and live 800 years. They speak like a dog barking or a bird chirping, write like Egyptian hieroglyphics, and have learned English quite easily. They have large blue eyes that wrap partway around their heads, small noses, and tiny ears pressed tight to their scalps. Their thumbs are small, with 4 long slender fingers. Their skin is completely white, like chalk. They all have thin, straight blonde hair. Their hips are shaped like ours, but they walk quite differently since they are used to a stronger gravity pull. They can typically be seen wearing aluminized chalk white jumpsuits resembling a canvas-like fabric with gloves of the same material and an open white motorcycle helmet. What's unusual is that the suit emits a 3-inch field of white fluorescent light, the intensity varying from soft to bright, a brightness that can actually hurt the human eye. They are extremely intelligent and process information at a speed several times faster than humans. They have individual talents, differing intellectual capabilities, and physical traits. Some are teachers, some are pilots, some are workers, and some are leaders. Everyday speech sounds like a dog barking or a meadowlark singing. However, some tall whites can mimic human speech and can, in fact, carry on normal conversations with humans. Some have demonstrated an ability to imitate specific humans so well that the imitation cannot be detected when used over the telephone. They can also use a device that projects speech so that it is heard by humans within their heads. This works only over a short range, several feet, and requires the human to turn the head sideways to the tall white. The device is also a language translator. According to its settings, from time to time, Hall was occasionally able to overhear tall whites conversing among themselves as though they were speaking English. They like to recreate, procreate, and their children, considerably smaller in size, are fun-loving, energetic, and inquisitive. The children enjoy hide and seek, but they also like to play catch with soft objects since their bodies are frail and bruise easily. Mothers are highly devoted to their children to the nth degree, existing solely for the purpose of meeting the needs of their offspring. Although they are highly individualistic, one similar characteristic is that they all have white chalky complexions, very white chalky complexions. For this reason, they have been called the tall whites. Every tall white adult carries a pencil-like weapon that can be set to stun, kill, immobilize, or hypnotize humans. It can also administer severe pain, and they frequently use it to discipline people who act in ways that annoy, frighten, or endanger them. The weapon's actions and effects are accomplished by varying the frequency of focused microwaves to interact with specific ions in the human body. Although their technology is quite beyond ours at this time, evidence suggests that by other and less tangible measures, wisdom, intelligence, and moral stature, they might be quite comparable to us. Description: tall white aliens are said to be between 6 and 7 feet tall, with even taller ones up to 7 feet 5 inches. Their tall, slender bodies have a pale chalk white color. These extraterrestrials are said to thrive in arid, dry climates. The tall whites have very large eyes that are blue at birth but turn pink as the alien age. While tall whites are said to be physically weak from numerous genetic manipulations in their genus, their lanky limbs can propel them faster than a human runner. Parks adds in private communication that the Mdugut is among the very few that practice natural childbirth and raise families. But the tall whites are more than just fiction, says Charles Hall, an educated man with a master's in nuclear physics and a former weather observer for the United States Air Force. According to Hall, who claims to have communicated with the tall whites, they are very real, very complex, and very much a part of the community living at Nellis Air Force Base, a highly secretive 5,000 square miles no-fly zone military compound in the southern and central Nevada desert. According to Hall, since Nellis is so secret, so secluded, and so guarded by military police, an attempt to locate the tall whites, who live under the sand dunes and concrete and steel bunkers, would be like committing suicide. You can't go hunting for them or approach them. They have to come to you, and the children are especially curious by nature, said Hall from his home in Albuquerque, NM, saying he hasn't attempted to contact the tall whites since his tour of duty ended in the Air Force in 1967 when he left to serve in Vietnam. It was a traumatic experience to be isolated in the desert, alone with someone so different and obviously more advanced than us. At first, I thought I was going insane. But, over time, I learned how to communicate with them, how to approach them, and never to try to force them to do anything. Their nervous systems operate very quickly, and they are very protective and very suspicious of our intentions. Hall's out-of-this-world recollections are not the product of an overactive imagination or drug-induced hallucinations, but of personal experiences and actual face-to-face contacts with the tall whites while stationed at Nellis from 1965 to 1967. He claims to have spent 2 years interacting with this alien race countless numbers of times, but only recently went public with his earth-shattering statements in a set of 3 books. I just decided to wait on all this so as to not jeopardize the well-being of my children while they were in school, said Hall, adding the accounts in his books are true with only names and places changed to protect the innocent. Along the way, I confided with my wife and friends, but now that the children are on their own and grown up, I've decided to tell my story to the public. And he says the facts in his book are just the tip of the iceberg in what just may turn out to be one of the most detailed, most convincing, and most sought-after alien stories of all time. Where are they from? Hall said he learned very little about the origins of the tall whites during his 2-year encounter. They really shared very little about their history and origins, recalls Hall. However, one incident took place with a tall white he called the teacher, which revealed they may have come from near the star Arcturus, about 36 light-years away. In a passage from one of his books, he said, "A ripple of emotion passed through the crowd when I mentioned the star Arcturus. After a short pause, the older lady asked, 'Teacher, does Charlie know where we come from?' The alien replied, 'No, not quite, but he's close.' How did they travel?" Hall witnessed 3 different types of spacecraft, ranging in size from a small nuclear-powered scout craft to a large interstellar craft able to travel faster than the speed of light. This large black craft was approximately 70 feet high and 360 feet long. Hall said the technology of the small craft was shared with the military, but the large craft remains a mystery. Regarding their hangar and living facilities, he added, "I was able to observe the repair facilities from a short distance, and to the best of my knowledge, I am the only person to have been allowed to view these facilities. The American generals would do anything to maintain good relations with the tall whites in order to get their technology," said Hall, who maintains he saw them together many times and even sat together across negotiating tables. The exchange was done on the basis of what would benefit the tall whites, and they sometimes participated in classified meetings, helping with technology development. The sighting. Charles Hall, a nuclear physicist, ex-military American weather specialist, and author, is touring Australia with his claims that the United States military has been in contact with an alien species for years. He says the aliens would dress as humans and visit Las Vegas. The Vietnam veteran said he witnessed interactions between the military and a group of mysterious tall, white, human-like extraterrestrials in 1964 when he was a weather observer at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. Their crafts are capable of traveling faster than the speed of light because Einstein was wrong about relativity. Mr. Hall said no cameras were allowed at the site, which has since been wiped off the map. When he arrived, a colleague wanted to lock them in the weather station and not go to the other end of the building because that's where he had encountered them. There was a group of 5, 2 men and 3 women, and they had come to go to the bathroom. When you encounter the tall whites, it's such a shock, you are not sure if you are looking at a ghost or an angel, or if you are dreaming, he said. Mr. Hall said he had contact with three types of aliens: the tall whites, about 2.5 meters tall, grays, with yellow/orange skin, and the Norwegians with 24 teeth, who look like humans and speak English. He claims that the experiences were real and that the U.S. Air Force was indeed hosting extraterrestrials, that they had reached agreements during the 1950s if not earlier. They were principally involved in technology transfers to the U.S. military. He said U.S. officials had kept it all quiet because people weren't emotionally ready to accept alien life forms. The tall whites are humanoid in appearance. The first UFO researcher to seriously investigate the Charles Hall story was Paula Harris, who interviewed him in July 2003.